the other side, because I feel like this series could very easily be a tie, but if Splyce play like they did in Game 1 again and Schalke can't really keep up with it, then this is pretty much a 2-0 in my books, at least.
Yeah. Schalke had a hard time getting the ball out on the other side of the pitch, that's for sure. Splyce will look to close them out here. As the picks and bans start, we have a Trundle and an Elise taken away. Rek'Sai now banned by Schalke, so Trashy will have to dip a little deeper into his champion pool. Jungle still being hit heavily.
Jungle being hit heavily. Now, if Nidalee stays available, this is basically forcing a Nidalee first pick out. Depends on what we see Trashy actually leave available in the pool here.
All right, Shen's banned for Splyce's last. Global pressure possibility has definitely been moving his way up in the popularity. 20 seconds left on Schalke's last ban. Do they opt to remove the Nidalee? Give this over as a first pick to Trashy.
Bard would be available in that situation. And even if Nidalee is up, they may just give Mickey the Bard. Like, honestly, there's a lot of first picks that could be available for Splyce here. There is the Nidalee ban. So it's either Bard or, ooh.
A Karma first pick. I mean, it's not like that's an unusual thing, but, you know, when you're looking at a player like Mickey who has been able to make some magic on the Wandering Caretaker, it shows that they really opt for this Karma instead.
It also does give the flex potential. Senkex has played the Karma as well, even though Mickey did just get player of the game on it. So they could very well look for the Bard, put the Karma in the middle lane. Sprattle has only played one game of Bard this split so far, so interested to see how that'll turn out for him. It was a loss. A win. I misread my paper.
50-50, it's okay.
It's okay.
But I may get his hands on it this time. We may see what it is, but not this round because the Lee Sin's locked in for Gilius as Steve takes, or rather, Ralez takes the Jhin. Okay,
so we heard Yankos talking earlier in our little feature about what champions do you feel like you want to play but aren't meta right now. He was saying that Lee Sin kind of doesn't beat anything but also does well into most things at the same time. And it's not a top-tier meta champion that we've seen in a long time, but it's Gilius.
He's always there.
It's Gilius. Gilius has always been known in Europe as a Lee Sin main before joining the LCS. He always was pretty much known as almost a one-trick.
And on the other side, Trashy kind of sticks to his tanky roots. He does take the Gragas for himself. And we have a Sivir locked for Kabi. Heard a little early in the day, I was interviewing Sven about that and how Sivir is kind of just such a very powerful pick. It's maybe not first pickable, but always very valuable and usually does not get through the ban phase.
A lot of people would argue with you about not being first pickable. Giants would be one team that did. They first picked it today. Vitality first picked it today. I'm sorry to throw you under the bus on that.
Nah, it's fine, man.
It's one that has evolved today more than anything.
I got tricked by the Karma.
It's okay. Karma is also first pickable. And obviously, we've seen that a whole lot.
It's a very speedy comp already.
Sivir, Veritas was talking about Sivir being the top 80 carry right now, and when it's banned away, and typically is Ashe. We do rate Jhin fairly high as well, and that has been locked in for Schalke. I like it as a takeaway from Kobe. They don't want to give the Jhin Karma composition, or at least setup, over to Splyce again.
And the Azir is locked in for Fox, followed by a Thresh for Sprattle. So there's some comfort.
Talia is back available for this game, but it would have to be blind picked, so Wonder could very well go for the Gnar that we've seen time and time again if it were going top lane. If they were putting it mid lane, it would be into that Azir, which is a good matchup that we've seen over in LCK.
I love this Scion hover, because it's still possible. We get the Karma mid, right? And then they go...
I don't know. It's not as possible right now, or at least it wouldn't be as
not with the Jhin.
Valuable. Yeah, because the Jhin isn't there as the combination here. So this is more of just an homage to the band Scion in weeks gone by.
This time gets to hover it at the very least. The Kassadin definitely did what it needed to do for Senkex. I don't think he'd be opposed to taking it again. As timer ticks down, we'll get to see if that's what he decides to lock. And switch over to Aurelia for Wonder, so we do get to see our final picks there for the Splyce side.
Very similar concept to the last game. Get strong side laners, get them into the game, get them ahead, and push Schalke before they can ever stop you. So this could very well be a repeat performance. A few less globals, no Rek'Sai, no Talia in this setup, and I prefer Aurelia as that kind of blind pickup into the top lane. There are still a few things that you can play into it. We've seen A couple of matchups. Trundle not available in this one. We've seen the Gnar matchup go in Aurelia's favor as well. So what do Schalke have left? If they want to play a tank, they could go the Malphite route, the very, very old lane into Aurelia, which only contains and is based on team fighting. Do they go for the Swain we've seen a few times, which is based on sustaining?
Nerfed again, though.
Yeah.
And I think the switch over makes a little bit of sense here. They've got the Olaf, and they will lock it.
So, Olaf top lane, then, in that scenario.
Battle of Bruisers.
Yeah. Well, the one thing Olaf can do is kind of take it to Aurelia fairly early on. So we'll have to watch that top lane matchup.
Very dangerous champions when they're low on health.
They are fairly dangerous at that point. I'm interested now to see, like, Lee Sin Olaf, when you look at that 2 versus 2, that's a lot of damage in the early game. You hit the Q on Lee Sin, you just go in, everything's Gucci, you just put him down and get yourself a kill and walk away. For Schalke, everything else is kind of fairly long range. You've got a Jhin, you've got an Azir setup until you go in, obviously, with the Shurima shuffle. So Schalke playing a different sort of style, but it's a little bit more unorthodox. It's not quite so unilateral, like go in for a team fight, get all the crowd control and win it that way.
Yeah, putting all their eggs in something a little bit more complex this time around. Remember, Schalke, they've had a very rough week so far. They're just trying to pick up a tie here and salvage a point on the week as Yamato Cannon and Nif shake hands one final time before we load up onto Summoner's Rift. Also one final time for this week.
Yeah, they're putting their eggs in baskets. I put my poker eggs in some incubators, 10 kilometers on that one, though, so I need to get out for a jog maybe after.
Well, we'll have plenty of time, but first we got to get through that last one. Hashtag SPY win if you think Splyce is going to knock a 2-0 out of the park, or if you think Schalke will come back into this. Hashtag S04 is the way you want to go. So, with these two compositions, Splyce are definitely looking to move all over that map once again. They've got some engaged, but they've got the split push. I'm excited to see what they're able to make work with this composition. And Schalke have their work cut out for them as we load up into Summoner's Rift.
So, Splyce looking to end this week with another 2-0 on their list. Will it be the case, or will it be a tie? I
know you love ties.
A lot of people are hoping for not ties, so that would mean that you'd be rooting for Splyce if you don't want a tie. Unfortunately, those are the only options for you right now.
Yeah. Well, they have another chance to move themselves up the standing. A little bit further anyways. 3 points on the board is definitely very valuable. Would put them up at 20. And, you know, this is a team that we have to start talking about realistically. The top 3 in Europe versus the bottom 7, that whole narrative, that's collapsed, right? Everything is a little bit more of a free-for-all now, with maybe the exception of G2 being the dominant factor. Splyce are definitely making a name for themselves this split.
And that's the funny thing. We had that period of kind of weeks 4 and 5 where everybody just picked up a point every day. And nobody really dominated too heavily apart from Giants. And Giants climbed up. And now over the last couple of days, we've had a good few 2-0s. So the standings have had a bit of a shake-up after some of today's series. Splyce, if they do pick up 3 points, puts them 1 point behind Fnatic. Oh, Mickey.
Uh-oh. Oh, he doesn't see it.
Oh, you're so bound.
Runs right into there, and that's Kabi taking a lot of damage. Exhaust instantly onto Rallis, but not before they get a huge chunk of damage. Kabi is going to have to spend his back real quick, and Spraddle just keeps on flaying him.
They just couldn't quite get the damage down onto Kabi. Actually, only the exhaust used. Exhaust traded for Ignite, but obviously the timing of it is critical here because Schalke will have either the duo lane setup or now the faster push into the turret. Look at where Splyce are heading. They do not want this 2 versus 2 now because they'd be so far behind on experience, but they're also so far behind on the push. However, what this is going to end up doing is Steve won't be able to join without his teleport now, and they'll have to balance that out with summoner abilities because Schalke are expecting the standard lane setup here.
Yeah, I think Splyce were expecting it until about a minute ago as well, so this is going to opt into a bit of an interesting trade for a little while. Fox taking a chunk of damage from Senkux, but as we mentioned before, this matchup, relatively safe 1 through 6. Steven Wonder will battle it out, looking like nothing's happening, but surprise! Here comes the bot lane.
He has to ghost away as soon as the bot lane appear. And now how does that adapt? Look, Schalke immediately start pushing this wave back out. Likely will use the teleport to get Steve down to the bottom lane. Otherwise, they'll end up behind on the play because Schalke expecting standard lanes to continue. There's the TP coming out. It forces them now to exchange that summoner in response to be able to match Splyce's speed.
I really liked what Splyce did after getting so far behind in the level 1. Gilius is making a beeline down towards this bottom side. He might run smack dab into Trashy, but Splyce They're so far ahead here on this tower. See if they're able to get something back. Schalke here, as Gilius tries to get a bit of counter jungle on. He is spotted by Trashy, and at the end of it all, we get ourselves the tower trades. Splyce slightly in the lead. A few seconds, see if they can work with it.
Yeah, Trashy had to get his red buff, otherwise he would have essentially been 3-buffed at the end of that, because he never would have been able to come down to where Lee Sin is right here at this point. So he had to get it before ending his jungle clear the first time, so fairly important for him.
And they're going to give him the gold too.
Doesn't fall behind. Yeah, bottom lane, it is going to be Steve that takes it. Top lane, Wonder will get it as well.
All right, still have some bruisery matchups alive. They'll be on par with each other gold-wise. Steve denying the wave farm here as he gets the gold, and Wonder doing the same. Try to lead those minions and stack them all on top of each other. Senkux and Fox continue to trade out, and that is really going Fox's way right now. Massive CS advantage for him.
Equal timings on the towers going down, so you can see Steve drops into the bush just to check whether he's got enough time to take this wave out. You can see he is tempering exactly what he's getting out of this lane, trying to hold it just in position. Now that he's spotted Karma and Sivir, he will back away as soon as he's feels like he is safe to do so. This will be the moment where Steve's like, I don't want this anymore.
Nope. Mantraq's hurt. He's a little bit too low on health, has to back away after it all, but Rallis and Spraddle are there back up in the top side, so Wonder's going to get pushed back, and we might settle into standard lanes after a delay.
Oh, I don't know about that. Infernal Dragon on the bottom side. Splyce are going to look for the push and maybe get a dragon for themselves. So with Schalke up in the top side with their duo lane, Splyce will continue to push. They wouldn't want to concede that lower side of the map presence when you've got such a valuable objective there. The difficulty, though, is that their mid lane is getting shoved in. That's the problem with the Kassadin this early on, is you will just naturally get shoved in by a lane like an Azir. So the fact that Fox has been able to do that is a good factor for Schalke. Now Fox will be able to back. It'll alleviate some of the presence in that middle lane, and that would allow Trashy and Senkux maybe to have a safer path down towards the dragon. But of course, everybody from Schalke is aimed on that top side. Not really too much difficulty on contesting when it comes to Splyce not getting that dragon.
Yeah, so we definitely had a lot traded here in the first 5 minutes of the game. It looked like it was going to be very different. Kabi taking a lot of tower shots. After the back of it, they'll finally wait for the minions to arrive and get right back on the tower. Should be able to turn to Infernal, but a little bit low on the health bars there. For Schalke, though, slim gold lead for them. Should remain that way. It just seems to be off the farm differential. It's still a pretty significant factor here for Fox, but it's kind of the matchup, as you said.
Trashy's recalling, which will prompt his bottom lane to recall now, which means nobody actually gets dragon control from that setting. You can see Gilius is expecting them to be on dragon. That's why he's pathing down here, looking for wards. Fox comes with him as well. This is pretty good scouting out by Schalke, and as soon as they realize there's nobody there, not even any sign of somebody doing dragon, they're going to fall back away, just assume control of the vision, back themselves away. And Schalke are very likely to be the team that will take control of this, because we've had the reverse swap again. We've swapped up to the side to Splyce, conceding control of the objective that they really should have had available to them.
Yeah, they're going to be looking to play this one out a little bit longer than last time. They had control of that game for pretty much all of it. And Schalke definitely making a much better play this time around as Steve gets double-teamed here. Exhaust is on. Can he get out with the Ghost? One more auto. That's first blood. Happy birthday. Kill goes to Kabi.
Way too early for Steve to handle that kind of gank. He was too far pushed up. Does not have access to his ultimate yet, as he's only level 4. Easy pickings for this Karma. They had to use the exhaust just to make sure he didn't get too far away, but still they'll take that trade every single day. Ghost for exhaust plus the kill means Splyce get that first blood. This time, thankfully, it went to Kabi. Last first blood, I believe, went to Mickey, and they just kind of stacked kills on their support. Helped them with the
Karma with kills
control.
just becomes a second carry.
Yeah, helped them with the vision control, early Sightstone, but here comes Gilius, bottom lane, looking for Wonder.
Yeah, Trashy's joined Wonder, though, as well, and you can see Senkux around the side. Teleport being channeled. Spraddle, though, he was caught a little bit low. Gets the flayback. Wonder, the hook, and they get him. Rallis will pick the kill up. And all of a sudden, 4 Schalke members right here on this tower. Can Trashy and Senkux defend? It looks like for now. The answer is yes.
Important little section there as Wonder went aggressive. Flay came out into the hook. He was trying to pick off a low health target, but didn't quite have the ability to get through that crowd control. Got locked down, gets taken out under the tower. And I mean, Schalke, realistically, with the number of defending players, they shouldn't have got that. Gilius!
Whoa, he pinballs him, and now Senkux coming around the side, waiting to finish the job. Senkux will do it.
all the work Fox has done to put Senkux behind in this game, forcing him back in the lane, getting a CS advantage, all undone. Gilius was too far aggressive in the enemy jungle, and Trashy caught him out with that first ultimate of the game. Good setup from Trashy. This was the bottom lane, so Wonder tries to kill Sprapple because, of course, he's seeing a low health target, but out comes the Flay into the hook. Gilius damage came through as well from the kick, and it was enough to just shut him down. So a little over-aggressive by Wonder, but he was trying to get what he could out of that situation.
Seen a bit of a scrappier game so far. 8.5 minutes into this one. Fox still trying to push Senkux in, but that gold difference that he's picked up from getting the kills certainly helped him climb back into it. Deadly Flourish will stop him for just a moment, but he's able to walk away from it and away from his tower, which 3 Schalke members are trying to push on, but he's come back with friends, and they're out.
Yeah, Fox tagged with your...
Whoa! Have to flash that one. Mantra Q was hurt.
No team yet prioritizing this dragon control. It is Splyce that have a little bit more in the way of vision control in the pit. Schalke did have good vision wards, or at least wards behind the pit, that have now died. Only one remains here, so we'll see whether Schalke can get themselves out on the map and get that in their favor once again. So we're starting to see Tiamat, Lee Sin come back. It's a solo queue setup. A lot of people have been talking about how you can get Tiamat. You can sometimes build Sightstone as well out of this, and it kind of gives you enough damage in the early game. The problem with that is always what damage-based Lee Sins are going to have is that unless you can snowball by getting kills like this, it always ends up wearing out.
Hashtag worth for now. Gilius is playing the solo queue hero. Splyce will trade for the dragon right now. And Senkux is trying to defend this top turret without Wonder's help any longer. Splyce are able to get a little bit back for it at the very least.
Yeah, they get some back. And honestly, Splyce, I think, will take that. I think Infernal Drake in exchange for 1 kill is fairly straightforward.
So this composition, I mean, let's go a little bit beyond the Lee Sin, because this is a composition that we talked about being a little bit less binary or less singular. There's a lot of complexities in what Schalke are going to try to do in this game. What do you think is their big win condition apart from snowballing Lee Sin?
For Schalke? Or Splyce?
For Schalke.
Sorry, for Schalke, yeah. No, it's, again, a similar thing where you're looking for the flank with the Olaf and the Lee Sin goes in as well. They have 2 damage-based champions on the top side of the map. The fact that Gilius isn't building tank may come back to hurt them slightly. But then again, Lee Sin is never the optimal tank champion either. So
especially not when he's building Tiamat.
No, exactly. So the build is actually Ravenous Hydra. You get yourself Dead Man's Plate, probably a Hex Drinker in there as well. Throw everything in the damage. Mickey.
That's Kabi looking for the chase down teleport, and there's a lantern now, but Trashy stops it, and he bops him to the side, finishes it with one big Q. Senkux, though, will pick up Steve on the backside, and Fox follows through as Wonder kills Sprottle. It is a real bloody mess in that river, but it's a 3-for-1 in favor of Splyce.
3-for-1 goes Splyce way, and Kabi had to use both summoners, but again, everything seems to turn around in the Splyce advantage. They are only ever so slightly ahead, though, when it comes to the gold lead. Mickey was posturing around mid lane to come up with Senkux and maybe try and push Fox back.
He's tanking tower shots here, but they've got a couple of minions still healthy. Senkux Rift walking away from the soldiers. Mantra Q comes in, Fox forced under tower, but he keeps on firing back, and he saves it for now.
Saves it for now. So we're looking at how Schalke ended up getting caught out here. So Gilius, this is one of the problems with him building damage at this scenario, is he goes in on Mickey, and Mickey has enough survivability that Gilius can't really burst him down quite yet with that tether on. It locks him in place, and the rest of Splyce can catch up. This is going to be the sort of game for Schalke where they need Gilius to get like 6 kills. Or at least Steve too. But the problem is both of Steve and Gilius are the ones that are dying this early on.
It's a tall order. I mean, Splyce is a slippery team right now. Schalke are looking to siege up the mid, though. Barrel roll
Hang on,
comes
there's
out.
a ward for a TP
There's a
here.
ward. Another TP comes in. Senkux, they just delete Fox off the map right now. Both TPs gonna finish channeling, or no, it's Wonder canceling his, and Sprottle's got to flash away from this. Gilius with the kickback. Splyce still on the chase.
Splyce chasing, but honestly, they can turn around and look for that mid tower now. As soon as this Azir loses the mid tower, this is a fairly similar thing to the last game where we saw Schalke looking for some kind of play mid lane, and it actually ends up backfiring and costing them their mid tower, which is the safety against this multi-lane setup that Splyce wants to run.
They went in heedless. I mean, maybe we should call them Schalke Have Some Fear just to give them advice. Wonder, he's running away, and here comes the Jhin ultimate. Wonder dodging, but he does have the flash to get out of danger, but the rest of Schalke are the ones who have to bail out, and they get a big barrel on top of Spruddle's head. One more kill for Splyce.
Importantly for now, though, the tower has been saved. Fox is here, and he holds mid lane, and that'll force Splyce back away. Senkux wasn't in that fight, and meant that Splyce couldn't continue to push, but this is where Senkux now wants to be for the rest of the game. He wants to be over in a side lane, one will be over in the other. The problem is they don't have teleports available right now, but Senkux is huge. Already 3 kills on the board, has himself a fair amount of gold, sat on just under 1,600 as he's pushing out that side lane, so we'll see what he ends up getting in the end. But big ult from Trashy. Gilius gets held in place, blasts Sprattle back into the rest of the team, and can't hit too many better ults than that. Steve, of course, is in Ragnarok.
That gives another meaning to pop the champagne. Senkux now, he's very, very big. He's going to be hard to contend with in the solo situation. Schalke, this is a very different game, but it feels, in a lot of ways, they're starting to run out of options as well. The bait and switch really did a number on them there.
And honestly, Schalke keep getting dragged into these fights where they think they have the advantage, and they just aren't really recognizing what they're playing against. And Splyce kind of TP in, and Steve didn't get there in time. Gilius forced to now
another defensive kick.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be up pretty soon, but all the same, Schalke, they're using a lot of their tools to get out of bad situations. They do have a lot of vision in this river, up and down it, but I mean, there's nothing really to take here. The Rift Herald's still going to be up for some time. I guess you could give it to Steve to try and stop the Senkux split push, but it seems like they're in damage control mode.
Seems like it for now. Look at Schalke, though, pushing out in the bottom lane. This kind of gives a little freedom mid lane because, you know, it's only the Azir defending, but with Olaf also showing, gives Senkux as much time and freedom as he wants in the top lane because everybody has showed on the map. And Senkux is in no danger of dying. So despite him not actually having too many aggressive wards, only the one by Raptor Camp, which would spot somebody coming from a long way, but nobody coming a short distance, means that Splyce got away with a little bit more than they should have in that scenario, perhaps.
Yeah. Schalke are really manning up this bottom side, though, looking for the next dragon. It's going to be mountain spawning in about 15 seconds. Look at the ward investment they put in here and how much they continue to buy these wards relative to Splyce, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's a lot of investment on that vision control, and Splyce haven't been able to quite establish the same as they had in Game 1, but a lot of that is the fact that their top laner, the other limb of this multi-lane combo, has been put so far behind. Even though he's got a kill, Steve has still been up in farm. Wonder doesn't have his Trinity Force yet. He doesn't feel like he can be in a scenario to trade with Steve too effectively, and he's not going to get access here to that Rift Herald either. It's going to be a trade. There is an attempted steal coming up.
All right, this is interesting. One team's starting to fight over the Rift Herald. It's stopped for now. And so is the Mountain Drake. Gilius going a little deeper into the jungle now. It's actually just going to take some farm away.
Yeah, it takes Raptors. At that point, Splyce didn't have vision on Gilius, so they didn't know that he was on Mountain Drake.
Some good global gold there. Schalke was able to finally polish off the mid-turn. I mean, those two have been standing for quite a while. 16 and a half into this game.
Oh, Wonder.
Oh, okay. He gets divided, and the rest of the team is there to conquer. Fox gets the kill, and over goes Sprattle. Schalke, one-man advantage.
Yeah, Schalke with a good pick there. That will result in the Mountain Drake going over to them, and will give them a little bit of a comeback here when you look at this game setup. They have just drawn into the lead ever so slightly. It is an even game as Schalke will take a Mountain Drake. Splyce had themselves an Infernal from earlier on, but the Mountain Drake, you have to feel they'll be fairly happy with that one. It will allow them to take objectives fairly quickly after fights. If Schalke can have some cleaner fights, they should have no problems with taking anything down after.
Let's take a look at that one again. Wonder spotted by that ward, and instantly they pounced.
Yeah, Wonder just had a pink ward, but was greedy, was thinking to himself, why is nobody coming to... Oh, right, I'm on a ward. As soon as that ward goes down, he knows. He's pretty much doomed. 3 people are going to collapse on him.
Speaking of doomed, Senkux now, glimpse of the void. Anybody who tries to 1v1 him is going to have a bad time. Still 3-0 on that cast, and surviving the laning phase does mean so much for him. Able to now push up, and it's really kind of the key to Splyce's continued success here. But Schalke have managed to grab something back for themselves and edge the gold game back in their favor. A Mountain Drake doesn't hurt either.
No, does not hurt at all. At this point, though, Wonder needs to get stronger. Splyce want to be able to contend. It was good decision-making from Steve and Gideus to just constantly punish Wonder. Despite Splyce taking some objectives and fights on the other side of the map, it still is working out in their favor because it's slowing down what Splyce want to do. They cannot get out onto 3 lanes properly because Wonder is just too much of a weakness right now. Double TP is up for Splyce, so if they can maybe get Wonder into a freezing scenario in the top lane, if they can have him sit here, get a little more farm. He does have that Trinity Force, so he does have some sense of fighting potential when he can end up coming in, but they don't really want to team fight with Wonder on this Aurelia. They don't want to team fight with him now, especially.
Schalke are much more interested in knocking down the towers as well, but they may have to have a team fight for it to happen. Suncook's and Trashy still trying to push back the waves, and they will be able to do it as Steve turns his attention back inside this jungle. Splyce being heavily invaded here, losing some territory, and they're losing out on mid-tier 2. Slow to react, that's going to be Schalke's.
Yeah, with that Mountain Drake, a little more damage down on it, but Schalke don't quite get the final hits. As Splyce just got Sivir there in time. That is the real wave clear potential they have. Aurelia won't cut it.
He's caught into the box. Flay back though. Spraddle is going to get popped over to the other side. Teleports are flying. Mickey real low in this, and the curtain call opens up. Trashy tanking 1, tanking 2. Kabi for the 3rd. And that'll be all. It's going to be the tower now. Finally for Schalke, they finish the job.
Yeah, they also got the TP coming out there from Wonder. It was cancelled, as Wonder would have ended up smack bang in the middle of that fight. The thing is now Schalke are going to do the fast transition to the bottom lane here. This is what we were seeing out of Splyce. Bit of a turnaround is fair play here as Schalke will look for bottom lane. I don't know whether they're going to be able to all in on this, although there is no chance of a TP coming, so they have the numbers advantage. They know this would be 5v4. Big damage from Senkox.
Yeah, Fox is here to zone. Spraddle really low. They're going to get inspired by it. And they go on to Steve. The health bars are really dropping here. 2 quick kills. Gilius and Spraddle on slivers of health. Senkox force pulses. Gonna hop for another. A double kill for the Kassadin.
Gets the 2. It wasn't pretty. He missed a jump at the end, but it was fine.
No one saw that stress.
It was all good. Wonder was pushing top lane. He's evened up some of the CS difference there as well. Splyce are going to go for the Baron.
Oh, man. It's only 20 minutes in, but they've got everybody but Fox spawning back on Fountain. And he can't contest this one on his own. He'd have to have a hell of a Shurima shuffle to even stop the Baron from happening.
They just chose to forego the turrets that they could have got in top and mid now for the Baron. As long as they secure this, this should be the much more beneficial trade here. At 20 minutes, just past the mark, it should be a very influential Baron buff for them.
No hesitation on Splyce's side, and after a massive collapse for them, they will pick that up just under 21 minutes.
Man, I was so caught out by decisive decision-making, my voice started to go in that one. Had one of those.
I know what that feels like, Stress.
It's all good. Okay, so now that kind of is going to augment Wonder to a point where he should be able to take the side lane trade. Wonder's going the Ghostblade route on Aurelia, which is not my favorite, but is good for cleaning up low health targets. And there aren't a lot of tanks, and that is pretty much exacerbated as an example in this fight, because look how low everybody gets. Very quickly chunked through. Senkox gets good flash. Oh, he actually got that one. Oh, it must have been a spectator issue the first time around then. Because it looked like he face planted the wall. Well, unfortunately,
Nip is face palming.
Kind of face palming.
Yeah. Senkox, okay, he might get chased down here, but he's got the Rift Walk. And now Splyce are going to move up towards this top side. Uncontested here. Steve could teleport into the back, but if Schalke want to fight this, they've got to move quick. Looks like it's not going to happen with the Baron empowerment. Wonder is making short work of the tower.
Once again, Splyce kind of smell the weakness and are just spreading out now across the map. They know Schalke can't handle every single lane getting pushed in at the same time. They tried to commit 2 to the bottom side and Senkox held on. For that, they lose the top tower. They are soon to lose potentially the middle tower.
And the bottom.
Azir is still there. Tower is still on full health, so Splyce are going to group for bottom tower here. Senkox goes in.
On the hunt for Kabi as well. That just scares away anyone from trying to contest this. Fox does hold the line in the middle, but Schalke are rapidly losing ground in this game, and it looks so good for them too.
Oh, it looked really good the way this game started. I mean, they put Wonder behind. Okay, there was a couple of kills that came out onto Gilius, onto Steve.
And that's about
Just gonna leave that. I thought Yamato was confused because he was like, shouldn't it be nighttime? We can start hitting the bar after this, but nope. Just gonna hit himself with his forehead into his elbow and dab.
You accurately described the dab.
Yeah, that basically is what it is. It's like face palming with the crook.
It's a happy
elbow.
face palm though.
I guess so.
Yeah, in a way. And Splyce has a lot to be happy for this game. 6,000 gold ahead, 11-4 in kills. Definitely out-fighting Schalke, who have really struggled a lot this week, but not for lack of trying. They have just been outclassed in several counts, and Fox once again pinballed into Splyce, and there he goes.
There he goes. I mean, not a lot he can do against that. Had his flash, had his ult, but neither could come out fast enough because Trashy blasts him back and the rest of the team has enough damage to deal with him.
Trashy has been so on point with these ultimates. It has set up so many of these skirmishes into these fights. I really got to give Splyce some credit for this composition that they built. The Sivir Karma, so fast. And Trashy is run in sprints.
And the execution from it as well. Like, Trashy is a player that a lot of the pros here in the EU LCS actually say is one of the most underrated junglers. Having real strong performances that allows him to set up his team properly. So, wouldn't be too surprised to see a lot of people singing Trashy's praises. The Baron power play in the top right of your screen is not an infinite Baron, don't worry. I'm sure.
And it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Baron did just, I believe, expire.
You know what's not gone? Glimpse of the Void.
Yeah.
How
long is left on that?
It should be a little bit more time. They got it about 14, 15 minutes in, so about...
It's like still 2/3 of that buff.
Yeah. No, he's got quite a lot left to go, and he can just continue to solo out here. Very valuable for the Kassadin, who's had such a massive impact in this game. 5-0-2. They just can't catch the guy now. That may change here. Shuffled over, and they bring the Gromp with them. Senkuk's finally getting shut down. Teleport's flying, though, and Wonder collapses around the side to equalize. 1-for-1 now. Steve trying to stay alive. The low health Viking. Wonder flashing, and that's a double kill for Aurelia. All of a sudden, this has turned into a party in the bot lane, but everyone's been invited way too late. Schalke lose 4-for-2.
Massive damage comes out from Wonderware and Senkuks before Senkuks can fall, and that allows them to even it up. He bought just enough time for Aurelia to arrive. That's going to be a first inhibitor of the game going down for Splyce.
Might even be more than that. 25 minutes, they're on the inhibitors. They will be able to take it down. Rawlins is the only one standing for the next 10 seconds. Splyce can just walk out of here as quick as you like.
I'm not sure what was going on in that picture-in-picture. I really don't know. I'm sorry. It looked fun, so I'm glad people here in the studio are having a good time, or in the arena.
That's what we're all about, people enjoying their time. And unfortunately, Senkux is not enjoying as much time. MVP for Gromp on the assist. And in goes Wonder, and he pretty much does Aurelia things.
He does. Wonder actually gets blasted back into Rales, and he had this moment where it's like, do I want to kill the low health Lee Sin, or at least get that damage down? That was the option he goes for. Trusts in his team to get the rest of it. So... Splyce in a fantastic position right now. Doesn't matter that Senkuk's died. Okay, he does lose Magi stacks, which is the other side of upgrading the Dark Seal, because normally we don't actually upgrade it, but Senkuk's just like, hey, I'm 5-0, I'm on Kassadin. Why wouldn't I get that? Now he does get punished for it, but still, he is super strong. Problem is, he hasn't been able to farm too effectively. He's nearly like 80 CS down.
No, not gold anyways.
Yeah,
I mean, he has been down, or not creeps rather. He has been down in gold to Fox, but what he's made use of it has been so huge. The Glimpse of the Void buff, he's had to have people collapse on him to really get anything done, and you can see the price that Schalke paid for that.
And the reason is because Senkux has been out in the side wave, kind of just pushing it as fast as he can and then TPing in, whereas Fox has been sat in the mid lane, just taking wave after wave of farm. The actual gold difference, the actual difference is 500 between the mid laners in Fox's favor. So it is still a decent lead for Fox coming off that big CS disparity between the two. But Splyce still very much so in the lead for the overall game. With 30 seconds left on Baron before it comes up, Splyce showed a very decisive play coming to it last time. We'll see if they can get the bait or a pick first and do exactly the same again.
Oh, Schalke, spiraling out of control here, are going to have to contest, but they will be spotted on every front. There is a forest of wards inside of their own jungle, and they've been pretty much relegated into the base. Splyce can play with this one however they want. They may just try to rush it. Steve is back on Fountain. He does have TP available, but they're still super streaming in to the bottom lane, and they're going to start this one. See if Splyce can take it down before Schalke arrive.
And you can see, look, top lane was shoved in, bottom lane still pushing in as well. So Splyce, they're strong enough to be able to kind of bait this.
He can't even get to the pit! Wonder just deletes him, teleports in, and they don't need to take the Baron anymore. They've got the team in their sights. Spraddle, Fox, Rollins all trying to run away, but how far can they get?
Oh.
Barreled back in, a 4-man flay for Spraddle, but he cannot get any more than that, and a barrel roll comes out. Steve will take one down with him. A double kill for Fox on the back of it. Mickey and Wonderfall, but that is an ace for Splyce.
And that's probably the game here. Splyce pinging the bottom side. 3 members stand, only 13 seconds on Gilius, but I don't think the Lee Sin is going to be enough at this point. Splyce, they're looking a little second-guessing at pushing in here, but 27 seconds on Azir,
They've got
20
damage
on Jhin. They have the damage to do this. Splyce are going to 2-0 on the week.
28-45 just about. They're going to finish this game off in style. Quick decision, quick thinking, and Splyce will wrap up a perfect week.
It's going to take another moment, Pyra. There we go. 2-0 on the day, 4-0 on the week. Splyce just secured themselves 3rd place.
That's something they can certainly be happy with. Massive performance improvement, split over split. The whole team, small changes in the roster, but really, really big differences on the Rift.
Remember this, we can come back from fucking anything, all right? From fucking anything. So get in there. 1, 2, 3, Splyce!
You can see them working a lot better as a unit, working together very well now, and that 2-0 will mean a lot to them there. Big, big win as they take down one of the people that they're competing with right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, you got to say Schalke played with a lot of heart there, but after yesterday and today, it just wasn't enough. And unfortunately for them, they're unable to come out of the week with a win. Splyce looking a whole lot cleaner and looking like, in all honesty, one of the better teams we have here in Europe.
Yeah,
Still got one thing to learn, though. Yamato's got to teach him that dab.
I'm not an expert on dabs. It didn't look like the best, I'm going to be honest. But I have to ask Shocks and the rest of
there we go.
about it. Was that a better one?
Yeah.
I looked away.
He did for like half a second, man. It's about as quick as it took Splyce to start turning some of those fights.
But is it really that effective if you show a less good one first?
Well, it's a work in progress, like all things.
Yeah, well, what's certainly a work in progress is the Lee Sin pick coming out, I feel, for Schalke. I mean, it has its place. I would say it's solo queue.
Yeah.
Because, so it is something that a lot of people are playing in solo queue. I saw a lot of people, including Gilius, tweeting about it. Very, very good for in games that have a lot of snowballing to it, a lot of insecurity on fights where you can just get these scrappy kills, get like 6-0 and great. You're strong enough to delete any carry. The problem is you're also not strong enough to get deleted by like a 3-0 Kassadin.
Well, or however far he went. I mean, yeah, he had 10 stacks on the Medjay's, lost some, sure, they shut him down. But, I mean, Schalke, it seemed like after a while, they weren't really able to go anywhere on the map without being punished because Splyce have just been so quick at closing those gaps and getting involved. The double teleport certainly helped. Getting a Kassadin safely out of the laning phase and on a couple of kills certainly helps. But they're the ones who seem a bit more hesitant to pull the trigger, Schalke's side.
Yeah, and Splyce on the other side seem very comfortable playing in this kind of style where they can run this 3-lane setup, bring themselves in. And the side of that I quite like is the fact that Splyce have it with a couple of different options. Okay, the Kassadin was seen in multiple games, but when you look at top lane, they got the Aurelia. This game wasn't so good. They got Talia. We also know Shen is the kind of champion that can do that as well. So Splyce seem very comfortable in this style.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with all that, we want to hear a little bit more from them and see how comfortable they are. Kabi, he's standing by with Sifa.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Of course, happy to be here with Kabi. Now, I feel like so many weeks you were the center of attention, so many cleaned up team fights with this Caitlyn, but this week playing a little bit more back roll with the Sivir. How does it feel kind of switching between a more utility style champion and more that carry style from Caitlyn?
First of all, I think Sivir is really strong in the current meta. and I have no problem at all like going into more supportive style. Whatever fits the team the best is what I will do. But it's not only like utility, like you can still carry from Sivir. But I'm completely fine with playing that.
Yeah, I mean, good to have both as an option, right? And obviously, I mean, you're still putting up great numbers, great score lines, so proving that you can carry as that Sivir without a doubt. Looking towards the team as a whole, you guys have been putting up consistent score lines week to week, steadily rising up the standings. What's been the secret for you guys?
I feel the past 2 weeks, we've improved a lot. We had some really big issues last week, where after we solved that, it seems like it has only been going uphill since then. But yeah, just we needed the experience from Spring Split, and now it's just starting to pay off finally.
I mean, good to hear. You guys, did you know you're now in sole possession of 3rd place? How does it feel to finally be a top 3 team in Europe?
It feels good. I'm not sure if, like we played 1-1 against H2K last time, and now Giants are looking strong as well. So, like we still need to face all these top teams. So that's where the true test will come. But right now, I feel we can be happy with where we are.
A good place to be, but of course that true test is coming next week. You guys are matched up against G2 and Giants. Now tell me, now the Giants are on the rise, what does your prep look like for this week? How are you going to prepare for both of these teams that are kind of near the top of the ladder?
I don't think our preparation will change a lot. Even if we play a bottom team or top team, we prepare an equal amount. So yeah, there's not going to be much difference.
I mean, good to hear that it's kind of just going to be a standard week for you guys. Excited to see what results you can put up. Thank you so much for talking to me. Of course, guys, we are going to step away for a brief break here, but do not go anywhere. We'll be loading up into the post-game lobby right after this.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-game lobby, where I'm joined by Crepo, Vedius, and G2's Mithy.
Hey.
Hey! Yeah, that logo was hanging for a really long time. Oh, Stress.
And Stresscast gets a free plug. Follow Stress on Twitter.
Hey. Follow me.
It's Mithy XD, isn't it, on Twitter?
G2 Mithy.
G2 Mithy. We're gonna see it right there. Boom. Voila. There we go. Fantastic.
Twice, so we were kind of saying Schalke should have this game in the bag.
I mean, here it was like, okay, he's a bit screwed up after the bot dive, but now this one here, now he's really far behind.
Is this where you pause the game in scrims and you just go to next?
No, here's when there's like this 10-second silence where everyone is like, and then everyone just tries to talk a bit, and whenever there's another bad action, it's like, can we pause, guys?
Can we go next?
Well, we can go next in terms of replays as well, because how did Splyce manage to turn it around? I said the team fights were very good from their end, or was it Schalke not pushing through when they could?
I think just their jungler is always finding picks, you know, in a lot of these fights. I think Splyce also, they just work as a team. Like, they follow up whenever, even on the back end of that first dive, there was a pick-off, you know, from Trashy going in. He's the better low econ style. You know, Trashy and Gilius have a very similar style, I feel. I don't know if you agree, Mithy. There they kind of set themselves behind to gank for their lanes, and then hopefully play some tanks with CC as opposed to Spirit and Trick, who seem to be more farm heavy in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so, but I think just Julius just had a bad game. Honestly, I think he screwed up. He got caught when his team got a good lead, and then he did a good play by going topside, but there was no other play anyone could do because the other team was just getting Infernal Drake. And I just feel that Splyce's team comp was so much better. They could just roll over Schalke. So
yeah, even the Kassadin, because that was something that you guys are like, whew, I might have wanted to see another champion here, but Kassadin?
I think Kassadin's just like a champion that can lose you the game.
Yeah, he is the one that takes a while to scale up, especially against an Azir. The lack of wave clear can really hurt you, and we saw a couple of times where, especially when the Irelia was so far behind, where you get in a situation, the Kassadin is sitting underneath that turret, and they nearly lost it almost immediately if it wasn't thanks to a good response from the side of Splyce. So, I mean, they played around it well. He did get pretty strong as the game progressed, and I know Mithy was mentioning how he would have preferred something like a LeBlanc in that game.
Well, the main issue with Kassadin is that you lose mid tower early, so they were forced to put the dual lane mid really early, which put Kassadin in a long lane when he didn't really have the Rod of Ages yet or anything. And the good thing that Splyce had going for them is that Thresh Jhin can't really do much against Kassadin, whereas if they had a Lucian, for example, they would have actually been able to push in the Kassadin, and the Kassadin would have been really, really screwed over for the rest of the game. And I just think that when you lose the mid tower so early against, or just, I think the tower was chunked down to 20% HP at 9 minutes, so that is pretty bad. For the rest of the game.
Yeah, definitely could have been a lot worse. I think what Splyce did great is finding some picks as well to get back into the game, and they seem a lot more proactive than they were in Spring Split. Our next replay as well, you know, there's a Sivir ulti being used to clean up some of these fights in these games.
Oh, look at that Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet AoE damage. Kassadin goes in and out, and then they obviously will have the mobility from both Karma and Sivir to chase down. And once you put this comp on the back foot, it's so easy to chase, it's so easy to roll over them. Fox was out of position too.
They need to be together as a 5-man unit, or at least a 4-man unit, and be able to kite towards a tower or to maybe an Azir tower. Doesn't matter, but their comp is just so easy to be rolled over. It's really hard to make this comp work against 1-3-1.
Player of the game for us is Trashy. We could all agree on that one, as you called it out. He is able to find those picks so good, and just in other aspects of the game, he's also quite good. He's not an aggressive all-out jungler, so to say, but he's really good controlling. Is that the right way to put it? Yeah,
I mean, he's just like playing some vision game. Usually plays tanks too.
Yeah.
He's played in Italy like a couple of times where I still think he's trying to find his footing more, but he's yeah, a really good supportive jungler where you take a hit personally, you know, you go for some wards, you go for some ganks, Rek'Sai, Gragas and the likes, but he makes it work, and he has the laners to back it up, seemingly. I'm so surprised yet again that one single roster swap can get a better support for sure. Mickey is really good at the game. Unleash Kabe, and then all the lanes are just thriving with the pressure being relieved.
I really think Trashy is just good. I really think he is just very good, and even though he plays a low supportive style, I think it doesn't really matter. I think it's just kind of how the team wants to play around, and with the resources he has, he's very good at knowing when to initiate, when not to initiate, how to initiate, and just in general, I think he also does a lot of calls for the team, so I think he's just a really good player, and this game showed.
Because what I actually find really interesting is last split, Trashy was not the jungler that a lot of people were talking about. And so as someone who played against him last split and someone who's now playing against him currently, is there something that you've noticed he's shifted a lot in terms of his playstyle? Or
I think the team itself has become good, which makes supportive roles such as jungler and support be able to shine more, because when you're actually a good team and you're not just like losing the game because someone gets caught, someone does this, someone that does, and you're actually able to play a macro game, then it's when support and jungler shine, because you are the ones initiating the plays. And
yeah, it's the difference between jumping in as Braum, saving your teammate and walking out alive, or just jumping in and dying to like a bunch of skills. Yeah.
Well, in any case, good job by Splyce. Final things maybe about Schalke. That is now 4 losses in a row this week. A very, very bad week from them, and almost all off that, if we could say, jump-started by the tilt of that Nexus not fallen yesterday.
I mean, one doesn't know.
True.
Maybe no.
Projection.
Obviously, it tilts you. I mean, from my own experience, it sucks. It really does suck.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us, it was easier because since we already had some wins and it wasn't as bad to tie. Because we even tied, we didn't lose. It was just a tie, so it wasn't so bad for us. But for them to lose and then not even being able to tie and then lose again today, I think they're in a rough patch now and they need to get their mindset together. Yeah.
I think all of the teams who have gotten.
It's a nice dodge on the S word right there.
all the teams who
hard,
have gotten bad review lines. Did you? Are you throwing him on the bus?
No, I like he wanted to say something.
I'm really trying, like,
and he dodged it, and I just want to
He's
compliment
doing
him.
such a good job.
Yeah, I just want to praise him. It's really hard not to swear.
All right, we were talking about teams that need to pick it up because playoffs are just around the corner, and with that, we also had the battle OG versus Vitality, who both went 0-2 yesterday, and OG, they just can't seem to crawl out of that hole. They are digging themselves. It was Vitality, on the other hand, that got a clean 2-0 sweep, although the first game was quite close.
Yeah, first game was close, but like if you look especially at like game 2, where we'll eventually get some replays from, that's where the Cabochard show started. The fact that it just went from bad to worse for Origin. They stayed competitive in game 1, but then game 2 there were solo kills in the Irelia versus Trundle matchup. There was ganks working out. Like the OG gank got countered by Shook sweeping in, so Shook killed Power of Evil, and then Kasing roamed up to support, you know? So Vitality was playing against these plays as a team, whereas Origin completely unhinged. I don't know what's happening with them.
So, because I was casting during these games, I didn't get an opportunity to watch, but yesterday, Nukeduck in particular was really stepping up on that Cassiopeia. Did we see a similar sort of performance from him today?
I think he was good today.
It's okay.
He was good. He
gets the MIDI seal of approval.
he was not playing bad. Let's just say he was doing his job. He was not making any fakers, like super highlighting play, but he was doing his job and not screwing up mechanically. So that's all he has to do.
I just want to ask, like, formally of like Origin, obviously, you know, what do they need to fix? Like, where is it like going wrong? Do you think?
I don't know. I'm not in the team anymore, so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah, hard to judge, obviously, when you're on the outside looking in. And it's hard to judge for us as well, because it seems that at this point, so many different things are going wrong. And some of our casters have already come out and said, I don't see them in the playoffs whatsoever. And you very harshly yesterday just said you think like this is
I think
shrinking.
right now they're in preparation for spring 2017 because they're not going to make playoffs. I don't think they're like.
Can they? Can they not? How does it work?
I mean, they can still technically, mathematically make playoffs. I just don't think they will. I think they're playing too poorly, and I still think that they're not. It's not like they'll get relegated. I don't think Challenger can bring them down unless there's like going to be some massive internal turmoil on the back of these results, because it gets depressing. And so has came out that he's like struggling with dealing with these results too. You know how motivation is being affected. But it's just a big hit for the organization.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. On the other hand, Vitality getting some individual players, team play, or that
line, and because he had this Karma, Sivir, Zillion setup, it was so difficult to escape him, and the way in which the bombs were used from Knight and the way in which he was always providing that support was just so impressive. These late game team fights from Giants were just something that we were not used to seeing from them, and even though they suffered some early deficits, they did a great job of coming back into the game.
There was this one phase where H2K set up a pick. They were waiting in River to pick somebody off, and they engaged on the Olaf. Olaf escaped, and then everybody from Giants entered that fight and ended up flashing out. And that was a fight where, in the end, they went 1-for-1 in a trade. And the whole point I want to make is, if this was Giants 3 weeks ago, if this was Giants last split, they would have gotten rolled, split. And then one by one, they would have gotten sucked into the fight, complete ace, game over. But right now, they're individually kind of stepping up. And as a team, like, they make their team fights work. Like, they had super good synergy, moving in at the right time with the bomb. If you're Smitty J, get revived by Knight, you know, and they're playing together, because the game 1 should have been a whitewash. Jankos was 2-0-2.
Yeah.
Like, he survived on a sliver of health. The Odoamnes Rumble survived on like 10 HP too. At that point, HUK had complete control of the map, and they handed it over.
I really think Giants is just a very strong team. In general, like, what I mean by team is that their decisions and their decision making is either both consistent and also straightforward. They don't hesitate to make a decision, and they know how to close out the game. So that basically makes you a top 4 team in Europe right now.
Yeah,
and
closing
on top of
out.
that, their individual skill is not under under the average. So
that's something that I really want to emphasize, the fact that their ability to close out games really is impressive, because it was in game 1 in particular, it was somewhat close. It was very back and forth. HK seemed to have good control. They then get that Baron play. They get the 4-for-1 fight, and then off the Baron, they just do not let up. Constant pressure, easily walk into the base of H2K and close it out. They do exactly the same thing in game 2, and it was just amazing, because this is something that we have been lacking in Europe. And while there are still some mistakes that they do make on an individual level, where they get a little bit too over-aggressive, sometimes they misjudge things, as a team, they're looking like one of the strongest in Europe.
From what it seems, though, it seems like the early game is kind of glued together by Maxlor's style, where it's very vision-centric. Like, I actually was watching some of the games, and I actually wrote Maxlor on Skype. I was like, dude, like, why didn't you go for camps here? Like, you did something else. It's like, because you could have trashed the enemy jungle. It's like, no, man. I prefer to play for my team, get some wards out. He often also builds a second Sidestone. Mithi, is it good sometimes to start playing in the metagame where junglers start bringing Sidestone? Does it make it easier for you as a support to kind of make plays yourself and just get the map under control?
It's not about the support. It's just that as a jungler, from what I've heard, right? I'm talking here without knowing so much, but from what I've heard is that as a jungler, if you ward the enemy jungler's jungle, you can counter gank and also like just move around the map, and you also open up opportunities to dive because you know on what side the enemy jungler is. So that's kind of the whole Sidestone tier 2 boots meta.
But right from a support perspective, like I feel like if you have to play, especially like 1-3-1 comps, one Sidestone felt like too little to actually properly execute that.
Yeah, on top of that, the double Sidestone, I always appreciate more words. You know, as a support, it's always like these small things that you actually enjoy. That you see the whole map full.
Lighting up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
We can talk some more about Sidestones later because I believe we have a tweet about it as well. One last thing about Giants. We had an interview with Hustlin afterwards, and he said, I always knew we were this good, of course, but he especially talked about his relationship with Sunstar, and like obviously Sunstar is someone that we criticize, and I think rightfully so, when they just came in, or the bottom lane in general, and he just said that he felt like it was finally coming out what they could do, and he was quite underrated. How do you think they've evolved as a bot lane?
Well, I would like to point out Maxlor and SmithyJ. I'll come back to your question because I think Giants plays very good around Maxlor and SmithyJ. Especially SmithyJ is carrying the games a lot, and this makes Sunstar look bad because once you play to one side of the map, it makes your AD carry be a low resource, like low eco style, like husband calls it. So that kind of makes you be low eco and look bad compared to your other teammates.
No, I definitely get it. Similar happened last split, you know, with Origin when they camped for their bottom lane, who was constantly crying for ganks. Poor Soaz looked so bad all the time.
But if you look at Soaz this split at the start of the split, Soaz and Amazing were carrying most of their games, and if you look at Origin 2 splits ago or 1 split ago, it was usually plays being made through us on bottom lane. So it just kind of shows that people just flame randomly, but there's always a team style or a team strat coming into different games depending on draft, and in Giants' case, it's their bot lane that gets the least resources, and that kind of...
And what's actually most interesting about that is a lot of strategies recently have come in towards just banning away a lot of Sunstar's comfort picks, because he does like to play these low econ style AD carries like the Sivir, like the Ashe, and when those were taken away from him today, he was forced back onto the Ezreal. And early on, he did struggle because it took him a long time to get the items that he needed to have an impact, but he still played in a very similar style of low resources on the backline, constantly trying to provide the utility for his team.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill to play from behind well, because everybody can snowball, but I think we can definitely notice within Giants also just the communication getting better. I think it's not that Sunstar has always been this great. I think you can aptly criticize a player when he's playing bad, but then you should also just, you know, reward him for growing, and I think that's what happened. Like, his communication is much better. He was randomly getting caught out all the time at the start of the split right now, and right now, even when he's at a farm deficit, he's just much more aware, and with some of the meta picks like Sivir and Ashe being used for utility, it just fits into that style.
Lozark also congratulated his team and tweeted after today's win, "Thanks to my teammates, I got my first win against H2K after 14 losses in a row. With them, everything is easier." Of course, quite a long project in the Giants to get there, but that's a lot of losses to overcome that, so we have to look at the side of H2K as well.
I would celebrate if I was them.
Yeah, it just reminds me of that Joker, like something like, you may have beaten, you know, the great Giants 14 times, but nobody beats the great Giants 15 times.
One final thing then about H2K. I saw Jankos tweeting, I think, sometimes it's better to get like an 0-2 and really improve than get a tie. And first, I know a couple of weeks ago another player said that, and I thought they were joking, but is it so that you maybe rather have a full 0-2 where you can have like these 2 games that you can actually dig into than that tie with that 1 win that you feel kind of iffy about? Is that easier to look at? Or
I mean, I don't know how to answer this without bragging, but I haven't lost yet.
yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah. We don't take it as bragging. I just realized.
You haven't answered it without bragging.
You're just Does anyone else have an opinion?
Coming from somebody who is used to losing a lot, yeah, I think if you get the mental, if your team needs like that shift and you get a little bit lackadaisical, or you rest on your laurels, then definitely, you know, a 0-2 smack in the face is needed. But remember, every 0-2 smack you get, like your opponents get 3 points, as opposed to like the thing with a tie is like, yeah, you feel like you lose 2 points, but you also take potential 2 points away for that your enemy could have gained, you know. So in that sense, maybe just, you know, try to improve regardless of winning or losing, just like Mithy.
I mean, one of the best examples to look at is the Unicorns, who initially experienced a lot of 0-2s, and now they're looking like a much stronger team.
Let's look at the standings and see where they all end up, because it has been shaken up here today. So G2 and Fnatic still 1 and 2, but then Splyce is in 3rd, have now overtook H2K, and then followed by the Giants. And then we have Rocket, Origin, Vitality, Unicorns of Love, and then Schalke in 6th. Well then, this is your top 6 in week 6 of the European LCS.
Who would have guessed?
Yeah, what is the biggest surprise out of everything?
Giants.
Giants.
Giants?
For sure, I think.
Yeah, hands down.
For me, the Origin one is the most surprising, personally. I think the fact that they've dropped down to 9th
No, you could choose
is very surprising.
Do you want to change your vote?
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, how much do we think that this top 6 is going to change? Who out of the top 6 is do you think is locked? Yeah, most likely for you guys, or most deservedly?
Wait, to leave or to stay?
To stay in the top 6.
I think Giants
G2.
almost
Deserves to stay.
So G2.
I think Giants are almost certainly going to stay in at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to tell. Like at one point, I think all these 6 teams are so likely to stay, but if we gotta choose one that can maybe drop out, maybe due to the tick that they got, Schalke can drop out. I think the team that's most likely to make it in can be Unicorns, because they have the most, like, I feel like, variance in their play. They can upset.
Chaos.
No, not like that. But like when they do well, they do really well.
Yeah.
You know, if like right now, if Rocket gets the lead, there's a good chance they'll lose it. You know, Origin gets the lead, there's still a good chance that they'll lose it. Vitality, same thing. Like out of all these teams, like in the bottom 4, Unicorns has the most variance in their play to make it back in. However, I think this will stay or will still be our top 6 at the end of the split.
I think after this week, maybe Schalke has a chance of dropping out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And in terms of Giants, I think that if the meta stays how it is, where it's mostly top focused and carry focused on top side and utility based AD carry on the other side, they're gonna stay for sure. I think they're a very strong team. But if the meta shifts and it's Sunstar's time to get the resources and show how good he truly is, then maybe they will slack, maybe not. We will have to see.
If Giants has to start making comps like Nunu Tom Kench around Sunstar, then maybe they'll struggle.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I think it's funny because last year, remember when Tom Kench came out? I think it was you and Soaz who were in an interview, and you guys were like, he's so bad, and you used all kind of bad words. Obviously, it's not the same Tom Kench now, but you did try it yesterday.
Now it has a mini Tiafult. It's really cool, and you can like bring your bro with you, you know, and like it has the best emotes. It's so cool. Best champ.
Fantastic. Let's talk some more about supports, because at the beginning of the show, we asked you in 6.13, what do you think has changed the support meta the most and why? Mithy always knows a lot about it. Here's from the Vendetta League says, I think that with all the support item buffs, Janna, Karma, and Nami are top tier because they all shield and heal one champion. And we have seen that those were the ones that kept what?
No, I think we're forgetting a champion in that list, you know, Mithy, one that you finally pulled out today. And I'm just being really happy. And I'm proud of you. But I just want you to know, like, you should practice him harder, because I got this from a fan today. So I hope
whoever that fan was, I deserve that.
Yeah. So I hope that you know that, like, once you get good enough at this champion, maybe somebody will make you.
It's really cool, by the way. Whoever made it, it's really cool.
It's fantastic.
Really, really
It's
cool.
a level
That's
of detail
amazing.
too. Yeah.
Anyway, answering your question.
Yes.
Leave it there. I think it's So I think, judging from the whole heal and shield patch and everything, I thought the same, but it's kind of hard to get 2 items as a support on top of the Sightstone, and then people that want me to buy the Ruby Sightstone and get the Talisman too is I don't have that much gold, guys, you know, especially in competitive. So I don't know how they're gonna be. And looking at LCK, Alistar coming up, and Brown being more played, and I'm not sure. I think there's a slight glimmer of chance that that's going to be the case, but I think maybe mid supports are going to come back instead.
What about Lulu?
I want to say useless, but it maybe bites me back in the ass, you know. But
I mean, if it becomes useful, that's fine for you, right?
Yeah, I will play it if it becomes useful, but right now I think it's still useless.
Deficio
Deficio likes Lulu. Lulu divides every support
One of 2 champions
players.
he could play with Zyra.
Yeah, it's just like you either are a Lulu player or you really hate the champion. So it takes like a lot of players.
I was a Lulu player back then.
How can you hate
my first
Lulu?
relegations with Wizards and Motroko in the
Wizards,
lane.
right? Oh yeah, Motroko. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Let's take a look at another tweet. Robert Hebden likes the Ruby Sightstone buff, saying 200 gold cheaper and 20% active CDR is very nice with the new Mikhail's buffs. Very interesting.
Problem is it still has the original problem of Ruby Sightstone that it makes your GP 10 items like not slot efficient. I really like the fact that you can get like Spell Thieves and then you make it to the blue item. You get more procs a lot quicker, you know. You ramp the item up and then you have more slots to play around. And then as you're building like your second or third item, you still have room for pink wards. That's for me like one of the biggest bonuses to like having a really slot efficient first item.
The way I see it, if let's say, I mean, obviously you need the forwarding item as soon as possible. So let's just say I have the tier 1 gold item and then I buy the Ruby Sightstone, then I have to get enough gold to upgrade my talisman and then get my locket, and then you guys want me to buy the Mikhail's and the Ardent Sensor on top of that. So unless this game is going to turn out to be a 1-hour game.
But I have the solution for that. Right now, like junglers are building Sightstones.
Oh,
we're gonna get them.
I see where you're going.
You don't steal their kills. You let them get the kills. You reward them for their positive behavior, which is building Sightstone, and then you praise them too. You after the game, you say, you know what, buddy,
good dog.
Your vision was fantastic this game, and then suddenly you just forget to buy Sightstone sometimes, and that's where you get all the gold that you need.
I see.
I will not try that, but if you wanna take Crepo's advice, feel free.
For sure. In general, though, a couple of weeks ago we asked you about the support meta, and you said I don't know. Right now, it seems that there's a clearer hierarchy in terms of picks, but how do you feel, how much liberty do you have in terms of controlling comps with the kind of support picks you can go for?
Right now, I think Braum and Bard are the safest, and Karma are the safest blind picks. You basically pick them if you have to pick support early. And if you want to then wait a few rotations with support, if you're a mid laner and your top are like, yeah, okay, I can pick first, you know, and they give you that chance, then you can pull out stuff like Soraka, Janna, Tahm Kench, Morgana. All these picks have their small roles in team comps that can just counter a comp completely, and that's kind of where they shine.
Right.
All agree?
Very interesting. I mean, I was actually quite curious because we saw a lot of diversity in your support pool very early on. And I was wondering as to whether or not these support item changes would bring back more Soraka, because I know in solo queue I've been experiencing a lot more of it, but it's still the problems that you were mentioning earlier where you're not quite getting enough gold.
Well, I mean, Soraka is still good even if you don't buy these items. I think this champion is still very good in a certain situation, because if you're not mid Soraka and you're forced to, I call it dog, your AD carry on the sideline when you play the 1-4 comp and you have to like push all the way through, you can get collapsed on so easy. You have nothing to help your AD carry escape, even help yourself escape, and you just kind of can get rolled over in so many different ways with so many different champion picks. So you have to be very careful about when you play it. But if you find the right time to play it, it's OP.
All right. We always see that Sion getting banned, by the way.
Oh, sometimes, yeah, against Mickey. That's just like, there are these niche support champs that you can play. If you play a champion so often and so well that you know it kind of, 100%. I was going to use like a Belgian translation, but that's not going to work.
What?
Out of your pocket. I was like, you don't say that in English.
But say it in Dutch.
I don't remember. Oh. Go on. But yeah, if you know it like you know the pocket of your trousers, you know, then your broekzak. Then you can play this champion because nobody knows how to deal with it, especially like Science creep harass or going for the knockup from the brush. It's really annoying, as well as random like support roam Sion ulti that just tilts team.
Oh god.
Is like, why is Sion not being called miss, you know, and then your mid laner dies and he asks you like, this champ is broken, or
you know, truth is I have never played against Sion before. as a support. I mean, I played against it like long time, but never really like experienced Sion and learned how to play against it. So we play Splyce next week.
Yeah, they know what to do. Elaborate
We'll
bait.
see about that.
Elaborate bait. He has a counter ready. Well, I'd love to see it. We're going to check out who earned player of the game to close out the week. Knight, a double player of the game today. I know, Verius, you want to talk about it.
Wow, his Zillion was honestly very, very impressive. He was the bomb, indeed. The number of double stuns he landed was actually ridiculous, and there was actually one fight in particular which H2K could have won because Odo flashed in with the Gnar. He had full Gnar bar. He was ready to get a multi-man ultimate off, instant double stun coming out from Knight to then allow them to disengage and reevaluate the team fight.
Yeah.
It was just really impressive performance. He used to play it a lot during Korean Challenger, and he's bringing that again today.
Trick, another point. Let's look at the overall leaderboard for player of the game, because I feel like Trick will still be #1. Actually, yesterday he was tied with someone else. Oh, this is the same one again.
Same
oh,
board.
there we go. Yeah, now he took over Jankos, so we have 7-6 Jankos, and Knight is third,
Jungler
actually.
is balanced role, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. We had, who was it, Maxler on the desk yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If supports miss every Q on bar, then they can't get in there. You know?
Okay. I deserve that.
How good is Trick, Mithy?
He's really, yeah. He's really fucking good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Here it comes, you know. Here is the right place to use it.
Oh no, the Mithy is unleashed. Let's talk about Fantasy LCS. Expect is our MVP for the week in terms of Fantasy LCS. He got 101.67 points, 17 kills, 38 assists in 4 games, 504 damage per minute, and 80% kill participation. How's that integration going of Expect? It seems to be going quite well.
Yeah, it's going good. We're trying to play more for him and give Sven less resources. It's a long process, slow process. It's going well. It's going well, and the fact that he now can communicate and express what he feels and what he thinks is making things a lot easier too.
Yeah, I think regardless of whether that works super well for G2 in the immediate future or not, I think it's always great that teams have a versatility in styles. And luckily for G2, like, you guys have room to fail. Like, you guys have room to lose games as you like keep practicing, because you gotta look to playoffs. If you just play the same style and maybe the meta randomly shifts with a patch, then you're screwed if you can't rely on your top laner, and especially if you then look at Worlds 2, where top laners historically have been so fantastic, and we've seen teams that play low econ style only get absolutely murdered in the top lane. I think it's great that you guys are cultivating like a different style.
Yeah, we're trying to just be able to adapt to every patch and just kind of play every style in its own way. Like, well, Perks and Trick are known for being a very good mid jungle. Me and Sven are known for playing good around bot lane, and now we're trying to work around snowballing top side and playing to top side. So these are things we should have worked on the split, but we are working on now. So maybe we're lacking a bit of time in coming Worlds, but I think we're taking the right approach to the game, which is the most important thing.
Just go for the boot camp.
Please.
No vacation.
Just a final plea from us. For us here in the European LCS. No.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
God is promise.
Vacation memes, bring them.
A little bit of vacation, but we'll be back next week on Thursday, 5 p.m. Central European summertime to launch week 7 of the EU LCS Summer Split already. Unicorns will take on Giants to start things off, followed by Roccat versus Vitality and G2 Splyce and Fnatic H2K as well. Fantastic matches. Yeah.
Just a lot of matches that are in the same bracket. You know, Unicorns and Giants, they're very close in the standings. H2K versus Fnatic, you know, we can see if any of these teams can bounce back. You know, Splyce versus G2 is going to be a cool test, because I think the teamwork in Splyce is so great, and some of the shared champions is where they can challenge G2 at least. Maybe this is match of the week on Friday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can someone, production, help me out?
I believe this is the match of the week on
Who's that
Friday.
cute guy to the right there?
And
Oh, match of the week on Friday.
Oh, that would be Odo
The guy with the glasses.
No, that was Jankos.
So G2 H2K match of the week. That'll be one that H2K definitely has to try and win, because they hadn't had a big week again. If you need some North American flavored league after a survey of European style, the NA LCS has plenty coming your way today. TSM will be facing off against Apex. There we have Immortals versus Team Liquid as well. So that will be very nice. It's going to be tonight. Head over to lolesports.com for the broadcast teams in your area. I think the CBLOL finals are underway as well. So that's some more league you guys can catch. Any closing statements after week 6?
Apex is going to do it. They're going to be the first team that's going to give TSM a series loss, I believe.
You believe?
I'm really looking forward to the COG Envy game, because I think Envy are really impressive right now.
Mithy?
I think TSM is really good.
Yeah, I think
This
so
was your
too.
moment, but you've used your one
I
already.
used it. I can't go for 2.
I think Seraph will get his revenge too.
Okay.
Great. Closing statement.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm going to close off. I just wanted to thank Mithy. I just wanted to not interrupt you. But thank you very much, Mithy, for joining us. Always a pleasure. Fantastic insight.
Thanks.
All right, there we go. That's all from us here in the post-game lobby. Thank you all. And remember, we will be back at our regular time next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time. And we hope to see you then as the EU LCS Summer Split continues.